Now, recently it was reported that President Trump's lawyers are in negotiation with special counsel Robert Mueller's office in order to conduct an interview as part of the Russia investigation. Their interview would be with the President of the United States. Now, obviously, Trump's lawyers are desperately trying to keep him away from a one-on-one, in-person interview. They actually believe that it would be quite disastrous and are actually trying to float the possibility of him responding to questions in a written format, because you can't possibly mess that up. Why? Oh, they get the written question, he confers with his lawyers, and they come up with a nice, flowery, lawyerly response, and everything's great. But you talk to Trump one-on-one, it's going to be a complete disaster for him. He's not a smart person. He's not exactly a stable genius. But anyway, now that whole thing does not bode well for the confidence that the Trump team has in their leader. But it's not just Trump's lawyers that have weighed in. It's actually many other legal experts. And their opinion on this is unanimous. Don't do it. Do not talk to Mueller. For the love of God, don't do it unless you want to get caught, right? Unless you want to... Oh, look, let me just give you the quotes here. One source who was described as having knowledge of the Mueller investigation tells New York Magazine's Cristian Farias that Trump is the kind of client that gives attorneys nightmares because he will, quote, humiliate you and destroy you because he just can't follow directions. How sad. Now, the Mueller team will be ready to go with a lot of very important questions, very specific questions that are calibrated to and designed to trip up the president, he says. And the president's lawyers will have a very difficult time controlling his responses. They can't even control him on Twitter. And that's where he says some of the most ridiculous things. So they can't control him on Twitter. They sure as hell can't control him on a one-on-one interview with Mueller. Now, it gets worse. The source told Farias, quote, he's a loose cannon. No matter how much you prep him, no matter what small words you use, maybe even small tweets, small words inside of tweet size, briefings and all that, no matter how what small words you use to explain to him the potential landmines he could step on, he will leap in blindly and say whatever pops into his head, and that could be a potential disaster. Trump is the kind of guy who's going to walk into, if this happens, if there's a one-on-one interview, he's going to waltz in there and be like, I got this. Don't worry about it. I got this. I have tremendous brain. That's why his lawyers are saying, no, whatever you do, no, don't do it. Do not do this. You were not smart enough to go toe-to-toe with Mueller. At least that's likely what they're saying in private. In public, they still have the same message. Please do not do it, right? Alan Dershowitz, for example, has questioned the wisdom of letting Trump be interviewed by Robert Mueller, although he said he would never be willing to let any client get grilled by the prosecution. Now, okay, look, that's actually smart. That's fair, right? So most lawyers, yes, would not allow you to get interviewed by the prosecutor. But in this case, I think Trump is a very special case, I think, because of his outbursts and his inability to control himself. Now, there's more. Yesterday on Fox, Judge Napolitano said this.
Whether or not the president ought to submit to an interview to Bob Mueller and FBI agents. And my argument is never, never, never in caps should he do that.
Why?
Because he cannot know what Mueller and his team know about the case. He cannot know what evidence they have. And one lie or one close to a lie about a material matter, and he's facing a potential indictment. I don't know what would happen with the indictment because he's a sitting president. No sitting president has ever been indicted for a crime. But if the feds want to trap you, they are very, very good at doing it. Donald Trump is a very headstrong person who probably believes he is smarter than his interrogators, and he may be, but he doesn't know more about the case than they do. It's a trap, and he ought to stay away from it.
All right.
I love how he said, he may be smarter. No, he's not smarter. He's definitely not smarter than Mueller. He's not smarter than a 5th grader. He's not a stable genius, okay? He is there. He's got a problem, okay? I don't know if he's got like actual mental problems, but he's stupid. He's not a smart person. Now, I have one more expert here that's also going to weigh in on video about the possibility that Trump might talk to Mueller, and here's his opinion on it.
It's a trap.
I had to. I'm sorry. Okay. Hey, man, the guy seems to be an expert on traps, on what is and is not a trap, so I would take his advice. All right. Let's see. Here's the thing, right? So his lawyers are saying, don't do it. Experts are saying, don't do it. But there is a political consideration as well. And that calculation is actually being made now. See, if Trump talks to Mueller, he can show his base that he is not afraid of Mueller, right? And that he did nothing wrong, which is certainly a possibility, right? There's a possibility that Donald Trump is just super, super paranoid. He doesn't like people looking into his finances, so he gets really, really angry when people start to snoop around. And that he actually didn't do anything, and his reactions are just him ham-fistedly, bumbling around, trying to get people away from the fact that he might not be as rich as he thought. That is a possibility, that the entire thing about Russia is a complete misunderstanding, and that he doesn't have a deal, and that he didn't do collusion or anything like that, right? And that all this stuff is just coincidence. Look, I'm willing to entertain that possibility, even though personally I see a lot of coincidental things that happen to work together to show that there might be a deal. But, okay. The political calculation, though, that he could do by talking to Mueller is, well, he could make his base happy because, for one, he could show that he's strong. I'm going to stand up to Mueller and I'm going to tell him face to face that I had nothing to do with Russia. And, people who are fans of Donald Trump, they might sit there and go, yeah, you know what? Yeah, we're with you, right? We know you didn't do anything wrong, and we're proud that you had the balls to stand up to Mueller, right? So that could work definitely in his favor, assuming he did not do anything wrong. And of course, there's the other thing is that he did do something wrong, and he's so much of an idiot that he accidentally gets entrapped by Mueller. We'll see, right? We'll see what happens on that. Now, again, his lawyers and everybody's saying, please don't do that. If you have to do anything, do a written interview, which is possible. I would rather see him do an in-person, face-to-face interview with Mueller, but that's just me. That's my personal preference, right? Now, the other thing that the lawyers want him to do is just not do an interview at all. Well, that's possible unless Mueller subpoenas him, which would force him to do an interview one way or the other. And that would be hugely problematic. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.